So there's a lot of questions, and we are likely getting them here through the morning as we are going to hear more from police and more from fire. But we do know that fire officials were on scene as this fire was burning underneath a very major part of this bridge in both directions. 471 northbound, 471 southbound are both closed right now to traffic. And as we've mentioned through the morning, if you've been tuned in with us or if you know someone who takes this as part of their morning commute, even if this is not part of your commute, there will be traffic heading in all directions of downtown as people work to navigate around this. So let's start with the early morning hours. Megan mentioned that playground that's over in Sawyer Point. The bridge crosses over it. So at one point we saw those flames and smoke wrapping around parts of the bridge. Many of you probably remember 2020 when the Brent Spence Bridge caught fire on the lower deck, and caused significant damage. That's why ODOT, that's why KYTC, that's why police are out there investigating now the structural integrity of the bridge. We want to check in now with WLWT News 5's Danielle Dindak because she's been in touch with police, with fire on the latest of the investigation and what the potential outcome is going to be here. Danielle.
F like Frank, L-A-G-L-E-R, Assistant Fire Chief, Cincinnati Fire Department. This morning at about 3:30 a.m., we had fire companies dispatched to multiple locations, both under and on the I-471 bridge. We have different reports. Some reports said a car fire, some reports said an outdoor fire. The initial arriving unit for us was our Cincinnati Engine 5 from over the Rhine, and they found a fire in what is a very large playground structure that's underneath the I-471 bridge. It's part of the Sawyer Point Smale Park complex. That playground was heavily involved in fire, and the fire actually transmitted to the bridge structure of the I-471 bridge. There's some netting and some equipment underneath that bridge that also caught on fire. The fire to the playground was extinguished relatively quickly by the firefighters. However, the fire that was on the bridge is pretty complex, and it has done some damage to the structural steel that's on that bridge. So we have closed the I-471 bridge right now in both directions. We're working with both the Ohio Department of Transportation and the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet right now, making an assessment of that bridge. I don't have any timelines for you on how long that's going to take. We're working with those engineers right now. The bridge itself remains closed in both directions, probably through the morning rush hour at least, and then we'll let everybody know. The current steps is to work with those engineers to make sure we can complete the extinguishment of the fire safely, and then to look at next steps for the engineers and the construction company. There was a contractor that was doing work on the Kentucky side of the bridge. They were not impacted by this, and we don't think they had played any role in that right now. We don't know the cause of the fire. The fire is under investigation, and we don't have any injuries at this time, although we're making a good assessment here. We have some unhomed people that live in this area. We do not know if they were affected yet, and we'll continue our assessment with them in the daylight.
And so you're saying there was two different fires and it's all under investigation. There were reports that a car went off the bridge and a bunch of different things.
Yeah, there was one fire, and it was the fire to this playground complex. But because of the nature of the fire in the dark, people called 911 and gave us different reports, but we believe it was completely isolated to the underneath the bridge area.
So the fire caused damage to the bridge. Does it remain closed because it is unsafe to drive on?
We do not know if it's unsafe or not. We're having engineers from the Department of Transportation make that assessment, but to be, completely safe, we wanted to close the bridge until we can make a good assessment with those engineers.
And just for viewers that are just now joining us, you said two fires under the bridge and on top of the bridge.
There was one fire, and it was under the bridge. It transmitted onto the bridge. It caught the bridge decking itself on fire from underneath. So it's the same fire, it just extended upward.
The big question, obviously, this is time people go to work. What is your message right now to any of the commuters who take this bridge or just in general?
Yeah, plan ahead. Both ODOT and Kentucky Transportation Cabinet are putting out good information on detours at this point. So just plan ahead and take your time. But I-471 is closed in both directions all the way through the morning rush for sure.
How tricky is it to navigate a fire like this?
It was complex because we had a multiple level fire. It required a response of almost 60 firefighters to the scene. It's a lot of work, but we're prepared to do what we need to do to help the public.
And no injuries?
No injuries, yes, so far.
Any leads on what started this fire?
No, our fire investigators are on scene. We're taking a good look right now, but we won't know anything until later today.
So no timelines right now?
No timelines yet.
Was that a truck of some sort underneath there that was burning? Or?
Not to my knowledge. Right now we think it was just the playground structure. In daylight we'll get some more imagery and we'll get a little bit better understanding of exactly what happens.
Explosions were?
I do not know.
were a lot of trees around this playground, so it caught fire.
There's some like vegetation in that. I don't know how much was impacted there or not.
Are you able to paint a picture of what this looked like? We're getting a lot of reports.
Yeah.
It's quite the sight.
It was quite a bit of fire just because it was outside and was spread out over a wide area. It looked pretty dramatic when the first arriving fire companies got on the scene.
Chief Flagler?
That's right, yes.
All righty. Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, so we're hearing from Matt Flagler, the assistant fire chief with Cincinnati Fire Department, again, getting a better idea of what unfolded early this morning. 3:30 is when that call came in, and for reference, that's exactly when I was driving into work and I saw all of the police starting to shut down the roadways heading across 471. And that fire started at the playground, which is underneath the Big Mac Bridge, the Daniel Carter Beard Bridge. That fire started at that playground and then spread to the bridge, which is what was very hard and difficult for those firefighters to tackle. He said they were ready. It took more than 50 firefighters to tackle that, what he called a 2-level fire, because they were tackling the playground fire and then also what was unfolding on the bridge. The structural integrity of the bridge is being looked at right now. Engineers are on scene here trying to find out if they can reopen this. No timeline for when this could reopen. So again, if you are heading out this morning, please plan ahead. If you know somebody that travels on the east side of Cincinnati or from northern Kentucky, let them know their commute will be impacted.